Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this big brown land we call Earth. That sounds real hokey, doesn't it? I think I'm going to have to get better at them. I don't know. Maybe you guys got some suggestions. Well, I wasn't planning on doing one of these today, but however, let me just adjust that camera a little bit better. However, there were a couple of things of note that I wanted to talk about this morning. And one of them, obviously, waking up to the news that the great Robert Redford passed away overnight. And that's pretty sad. I believe he was 89. So he had a wonderful life. He had a wonderful life. And, the whole show isn't going to be about Robert Redford. If you've seen the thumbnail, I've got the Batman 2 stuff to talk about and some Emmy Award stuff to talk about. But right now, I think I just want to focus on the legacy that is Robert Redford. Yes, 89 years old that man was. Now, for a lot of us, he probably doesn't really mean a lot to us because, by the time us Generation X's were growing up, Robert Redford was a known actor. He was well respected, but he wasn't someone really a lot in the modern time zeitgeist. He was a couple of times, and we'll get into that. But for our parents, he was it. It's him, Paul Newman, Marlon Brando. These are the guys who are the dominant forces in cinema, and especially the 70s. As an actor, Robert Redford was all over the place, late 60s, 70s. And then later on became an accomplished director, and then became very picky about the projects that he undertook. And it showed because he never really dropped his quality. And so, for me, and I can only talk about my experience with Robert Redford, just from a film fan's perspective, but I certainly wanted to look at some of his films. So here we go. We've got a category of some of his films, and some of these you might know, some of these you don't. The first one I wanted to talk about, actually, the first one I remember seeing Robert Redford in anything was a movie called The Sting. Now, I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen The Sting. It was his, I believe, second team up with Paul Newman. But it was the first time I saw these guys together. And I saw this on the very early days of VHS because that's how I saw it. I didn't go to see it at the cinema. But I just remember loving that film and being the first time introduced to it. And as a small kid, you can't figure out this movie. There's no way you can figure out this movie because it is a Sting. It's kind of, you've got to pay attention. Good morning, Oddball. How are you, buddy? That was the first time I remember seeing him was the Sting. And then obviously I got to see him in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Let's just go back there for, which was an absolute mitigated classic. I didn't get to see it until I was on TV. But some of the other films that really struck me about Robert Redford, let's go back to his movies, that I really loved. One was called The Natural. Played a baseball, an old guy who got shot. Sorry, a younger guy got shot. And then at the age of 40 or something, comes back to be a baseball player. It's a phenomenal film. It's definitely one of his classics. Some of his old, like other films in more modern times, I think a lot of people know him from Captain America and the Winter Soldier, where he had a role in that. And I think that was the last time he was really a big part of the zeitgeist was in Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which he was great in. In the 90s, he did a couple of films that I absolutely adored, and it's not even on this here, but it should be. A movie called Sneakers, which had Dan Aykroyd, River Phoenix, Sidney Poitier, and Robert Redford. It's a highly entertaining film where they play a bunch of guys who break into corporations as a way to test security in companies. It's a fun movie, and I absolutely recommend that. The Last Castle was absolutely an insane film that he was in. And, yeah, it's certainly underrated. As you can see, it's got James Gandolfini and Mark Ruffalo in it. The Last Castle was an excellent film. I would absolutely recommend if you're looking for a Robert Redford film. There's Spy Game with Brad Pitt, which is kind of weird because you would think in another timeline they'd be father and son, because Brad Pitt currently feels like today's Robert Redford. I think that's a fair statement to make. I certainly would recommend that Spy Game as well. And then, like, a lot of his films, if you're a diehard like Robert Redford fan, look at this amazing catalogues of film, blockbusters, critically acclaimed, some successes, some, maybe not so. But, not only was he an accomplished actor, he did have a little part in Avengers Endgame too, was the fact that he was also a very competent director. And he done a couple of films that always stood out to me. One was Ordinary People, and then The River Runs Through It. Both excellent. So God bless you, Robert Redford. You were never known as a prick. Like, there wasn't that many controversies about you at all. Like, we didn't know about it. We just knew that you were a good actor and we liked to see your films. There was no other bullshit around it. So certainly he was a good egg that went down. He went down, and that was a extremely sad thing. But he will always be respected, loved, and appreciated for being the amazing talent that he was. So God bless you, Robert Redford, wherever you are right now. Oh, there's the movie Sneakers. One of my faves, Sneakers. So much fun. I'm going to watch that today, actually. I'm going to go back and watch it. So anyway, that's enough of that. God bless you, Robert Redford. I hope you go well. Now, as the thumbnail suggests, I got some The Batman 2 news. I don't know if anyone out there who hasn't seen The Batman. A film nobody asked for. Like, honestly, at the time, I think we still had Ben Affleck's Batman, and we were happy with that Batman. Maybe not happy with some of the stuff he was in, but certainly was happy with that Batman. So it came as a real shock that the kid from Twilight was going to play Batman. Now, I didn't think of him as the kid from Twilight. I was already aware that this guy was a major talent. Absolutely aware of that. He had done some film like Good Times and things like that with the Safdie brothers, which was just phenomenal. Oddball, I absolutely recommend that for you. Good Times. Look it up. It's an amazing film. Elements of train spotting, elements of crime, gritty crime dramas, all set in New York, all set in one night type of thing. Phenomenal film. But you know what? So was the Batman, right? Like, the Batman just out of nowhere becomes this great film. Oh, good morning. Good morning, my figure universe. Good afternoon, good evening to you, sir. Yeah, like, the Batman, I think, shocked everybody at how good it was and how, like, the take was so different. And I personally ended up going like, wow, I didn't think I wanted another Batman film, so I'm so glad. Then they come out with the Penguin. Where did that show come from? Colin Farrell nailed it. It was an excellent series. So now here we are. We've been waiting a long time. We finally have the script for the Batman 2, which is fantastic. That means it's going into production, I believe, in April or May of 2026 for a 2027 release date, which is going to be, much anticipated by that point. But there's also talk, as you can see, there are discussions around the Penguin season 2. That's one thing I don't want them to make. I think the Penguin first season was such a perfect arc for the Penguin and set up what he can be in the future. I don't know if we need a whole nother season of it, but I'm not going to say no, right? Like, I agreed. I love the Batman. I had no faith in this project. Yes. Yes, I mean, who knew? But they both knocked it out of the park. Oddball, you don't know what you're missing, mate. Go find the Penguin. It's an incredible television series. One of the best series of the year in a year packed with great shows. So I don't know about you guys, to know the fact that not only the Batman 2 script is done, that people's response to it, and there's not that many people that have read it, but the people that have are just going nuts about it. But I watched an article, I read a small article where apparently the process is pretty intense to read the script. You're given this certain bag and it has a lock on it. And then you're given a different code somewhere else. It's like highly secure, but I absolutely love it. While my figure, okay, let's have a look at the Penguin has the ability to make you feel possible emotion. And that is not, it's not hype. Absolutely. Oh, buddy, you sick today, mate? You know what? It's going around, isn't it? So here we're coming to the tail end of, well, we're officially in spring, but we're still at the tail end of winter. So it's all the bugs start going through the country, doesn't it? Yeah. Get well soon, oddball. Absolutely. My figure universe, though, mate, I wanted to directly send you a message about this, but I couldn't believe how great this episode was. Season 2, episode 17 of Smallville. I was blown away at the quality of that episode of Smallville. That's like they took Smallville and they just, didn't flip it on its head, but just took it to a next level. It's it was it's an incredible episode. I know you're a huge Smallville fan too, My Figure Universe, and this, wow. I mean, if anyone said to me, "Can you explain Smallville?" and give me an introduction episode, just give them a couple episodes so far. In this episode, I couldn't believe how awesome it was. And just everybody, I think everybody filming that knew they were on to something special. I haven't watched the Talkville episode on this yet, which I'm really excited to go and watch a little bit later. But man, I couldn't believe it. You're in for a lot of really good episodes. I think what I loved about it, I think it's the first time they're moving away from the Freak of the Week scenario, which I think was a good idea, honestly. And now making it more about the lore. That's wow, Smallville. What a phenomenal show. Okay, back to the Batman. So the Batman, yep, bring it on. Now, I'm going to put it out there about award shows. I used to love watching award shows when I was younger. And then I got to a point in my adulthood where I'm like, everything that's on there I don't watch. So what the deal is. But this year was rather interesting because there was a few shows for the Emmys, which focuses on TV and streaming. There was some unbelievable television this year. And some surprising winners for the awards. Now, the show that I have been pitching to everyone that they've got to watch, I was thrilled to see The Pit be recognized. Adolescence, which I haven't seen, my daughter swears by that show. But The Studio and The Pit were the two shows I'd seen early on where I was like, you got to check these shows out. They're incredible. And yeah, wow, we got some really big winners this year. The Studio being Best Comedy Series. If you're at all interested in Hollywood and the making of, Seth Rogen pulled off something amazing. And so I absolutely recommend that. I've added both of these shows, but yes. I'm not into medical dramas either. I wasn't an ER guy. I didn't care about Grey's Anatomy or any of that stuff. But The Pit, the intensity of that show and its honesty and its ruthlessness and storytelling is something to behold. And then they framed it in a ticking clock scenario very similar to 24, where every episode is an hour in a shift working in an emergency department. And being 15 episodes, you get to see 15 hours of what it's like to be in the emergency room. Incredible. By the way, 15 episodes is a really great number. Get away from your 8 and 10. 15 should be the new standard. All right, let's have a look at the best adolescents. My daughter goes, you need to watch this, and I will at some point for sure. Best actor, Noah Wyle for The Pit, right? Like this kid, poor kid, who just becomes a massive star in ER and then really struggles to find, good work. He did The Librarians for a long time, I believe, and he was some other bits and pieces. But to see him back, not only working with some of the same producers for ER for The Pit, but just be so excellent in the role, he deserved that. He deserved that for sure. Seth Rogen wins an award of Best Actor Comedy Series. He is hilarious in that. Jean Smart for an actress in a in a comedy series. She's wonderful. I know you probably guys can't read this too well. I'm going to try to zoom in a bit more, see if we can make this a bit easier to read as I go down. Now, is everybody a Severance fan here? Because Severance, everybody talks about how amazing that is. I've watched a few episodes. I just haven't been able to bring myself to watch the rest, but I got to do it. Catherine Lanasa as The Pit. Again, you'll have to see her when you see the film. It's amazing. Tremel Tillman in Severance. That guy is the real deal, right? I've started seeing him in some other stuff. He is the real deal. I cannot wait to see him in a lot more stuff. And I believe he's cast in every film for next year. So we're going to see a lot of them. Noah Wyle, he's been on the Leverage Redemption for the last 3 seasons. Oh, okay. And he's amazing on there. I wasn't aware of that, mate. Thank you. I was today years old when I've learned that. And he's great. And he's, man, as a character, the character he has and the responsibility and the weight on his shoulders in The Pit, man, he deserved that award. Yes. Oh, and the other thing is Severance. Never seen Severance. Like I said, I've seen the first few episodes, and I can see where they're going with it. I mean, I don't know what the plot is, but I can see the style and the format, and it's fantastic. It just caught me at the wrong time, I think, to continue on and finishing. But season 1 is a mind-bending experience. It is. I just need to finish it off. Okay. Yeah, shockingly, Tremel Tillman is the first black actor winner. What? In 2025, that's the case? I'm shocked at that. I mean, the guy, there's no question he deserves it. The guy is next level. He is that kind of actor when he walks on screen. The problem is all the props and every other actor gets sucked into his orbit because the lens just stays on him. He's an incredible actor. And it's great that that's happened. I'm shocked that he's the first black actor to win one. Let's hope, this starts I hope he wins it every year for the next 10 years and any other talented performer, regardless of their skin color. Yes, I think I put you onto it too, I believe, Oddball. I did say to you, go watch that, which was kind of really great. All right, let's go down to supporting actor in comedy series. Jeff Hillier, Somebody Somewhere. Never heard of it. Off my radar. Hacks. Man, everyone talks about Hacks. Never seen it, but it's got to make the list. All right. Now, when you want to talk about an unbelievable performance this year, Christian Militoli for The Penguin. I hope I'm saying that correct. Oh, boy. That was a character I was going oh, right, she's playing the daughter. This is going to be lame. Man, she's electric in that series. She is so deliciously evil, but you kind of root for her as well. There we go. Stephen Graham, the great Stephen Graham for Adolescence. That's a wonderful story that he won. Owen Cooper for Adolescence. That little kid, apparently he's a superstar. So that's pretty great. And another Aaron Doty for Adolescence. I don't care about reality. Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Wow. That's kind of a bit of a win, don't you think, considering what he's been through this year? So I'm really happy for him. But there you go. That were the Emmys for this year. And I think it was a good Emmys. I thought it was actually had content on there for the most part I'd seen. And it makes you wonder is that where the real zeitgeist is? Because this is what films don't do. If we watch the Oscars or even the Golden Globes, we are generally exposed to films that most of us haven't seen. We just haven't, because they're dramas or they're released in that certain window that they need to qualify for an Academy Award. And just the politics around Academy Awards, not government politics, but Hollywood politics and all that around it. I just don't dine with it, And even the Golden Globes is pretentious as well. I really want an award show to tick off that really celebrates the films that we went and saw at the cinema. Like the movies that we paid our hard-earned money, and then we maybe got on the internet to talk about how great it was. We told our friends, I want those movies to be celebrated. If you win a box office weekend, right, and you break history for that, I don't know, I think that should be recognized. If you've made films and you go, oh my God, he was the best. We live in a world where Robert Downey Jr. has never been recognized officially for Iron Man. Now, you look back at Hollywood in the last 20 years, has there been a bigger, more important bit of casting ever? So maybe he doesn't win it, gets recognized, but that casting agent that said, well, yes, I want Robert Downey. These people need to be celebrated. I saw some amazing films this year, blockbuster films. I stand by F1 with Brad Pitt. I thought that was phenomenal film. No one in America really got dug it, I think. But certainly the rest of the world loved it. So, yeah, bring on some award show where we actually recognize the films that you and me would go and see and buy a bucket of popcorn and enjoy. Instead of a lot of this pretentious crap. Now, I will say, to close it all up for the Academy Awards, it does, however, make me aware of some films that I do then go back and watch. But still. Now, Futurama. Wow. Can you believe for all the years, how long has Futurama been around now? We're getting on 25, 30 years, I would say, it's in existence. It's sad, means that we only have 13 seasons. But yes, I'll be watching that coming up shortly too. How do you not love Futurama? They had a rocky season. I think season 11 was a bit rocky for me. There was a couple of wonderful episodes and then a couple that fell flat. But it's animation. And if you're 13 seasons in on animation, you're going to have some rocky episodes, right? So that's a good thing to highlight there, Oddball. Thank you. I was actually getting ready to start Futurama when I saw this was on. Good on you, My Figure Universe. You've held back on Bender just to pop in and say hello. Hopefully it's worth it for you. But it is one of the great animations, And it's an interesting time in that realm. I think, is The Simpsons coming to an end soon? Does that have a life going longer? Jason Roy Gaston just did a wonderful video over on his channel, the Jason Roy Gaston channel, talking about how he believes they need to recast the voices in The Simpsons. That's a touchy subject for people, right? I don't know if I agree with him. I tend to think that it's time to close the chapter on that long-running series. It's the same with Family Guy and same with American Dad and all those long-running series. So it would be amazing if they shut down those shows. I mean, the same with Rick and Morty. Is Rick and Morty not done now? I watched the last season and I thought, I'm kind of done with it. But for some reason, animation keeps making money for the studio, so they just keep these things going forever. So that's one of those things where I think give fresh ideas. Let's do some new stuff, in a marketplace where it's impossible to get your market share any more than you had 20 years ago just because of the streaming world. Yeah, I think we just need more independent stories, more independent like voices coming in and you know. Yo, Captain's Quadrant, that would be my friend Joe. Yeah, that's true. Of course it's true because I said it, Joe. It's true because I said it. American Dad's still on? It is. It is. That's what's shocking. This stuff's still on. I've never seen Rick and Morty, but I hear good things. Dude, don't get me started. I know what you're trying to do with your Star Trek shorts. But at least I'll be honest, Joe. You'll go on and say, oh, Star Trek shorts is so much fun. It's so great. It's garbage. We've seen it. It's horrible. If I could kick you off the stream now, Joe, I would. I'm only kidding. All right. Hence why I'm annoyed that they cancelled Solar Opposites. I was introduced to Solar Opposites later on. And so I only heard the new voice. But, I've been told it's an incredible show. Yeah. Do you think it's hilarious, Star Trek shorts? And my issue with it, look, let me just address this again so I don't get people in the Star Trek world all with their knickers in a knot. I'm not against children's programming in any sense of the word at all. I just think it's a fundamental mistake to market to that demographic. Because in my experience, in Star Trek's 50, almost 60 years, they didn't do that. Whether you're a toddler or you're not, if you introduce yourself, there was something for everyone. Even as a young child, you may not understand the techno-babble or the plots, but hey, look, there's a dude with pointy ears and the worst haircut ever. There's this really cool guy who runs the ship. This is really great characters. And so everybody, like, you grow with Star Trek as you grow up. And so I think that they're targeting children's programming. I don't see the net benefit of it, especially when storylines are chasing a space meatball and stuff. It just seems very dismissive of a franchise that is already having problems. Why would toddlers be drawn to that? I mean, maybe because it's space, but essentially, they've got Bluey. How are you going to go against our girl Bluey? And they've got other things. I also believe the Young Jedi Adventures, which feels very much similar to Star Trek, the kiddie one. That was a failure too, I believe. So I'm not against children's programming. I'm just against Star Trek doing this show. All right. Man, they cancelled Solar. I know. That sucked. That definitely did suck. Now, they might pick up a few peeps that don't get sci-fi. Yeah, but again, let's not spend money doing that. Let's focus in on good storytelling, something I've been screaming on Captain's Quadrant for the last 10 weeks. And you can also hear me stress about Star Trek Season 3 on Star Trek The Undiscovered podcast. Just got released. That was a blast to do that. Those guys are really cool and smart. And no one interrupted each other. Joe, what's with that? What kind of show is that where they don't interrupt each other? Totally agree. Yeah, absolutely. It's the colors of the stuff and fast stuff. That's what all. But you don't need a kid show to attract the kids' eye with that. Star Trek does plenty of pew pew and spaceships. You don't need. So, but there you go. Facts. There you go. Absolutely. That's all I talk here is facts. Is facts. So yeah. It's a different world now, like with entertainment and the whole Star Trek thing. Oh man, I could go on for this hours. It's some of the news that is being dropped, the strong rumors. Joe, there from Captain's Quadrant. You saw me drop in a couple of rumors into the chat yesterday. Well, they have been backed up. Trek Culture put out an Instagram post earlier stating they have begun filming season 5 with its completion happening at Christmas, the principal photography. So I'm right. All filming for Star Trek has to be completed by Christmas because Kurtzman and the crew, they're out. They're done. Bringing out with the old, bringing the new. Oh, yes. Oh, for real. 100%. Now, I would totally trust Trek Culture in regards, they're very reputable news source for Star Trek. Now, they're kind of claiming it, so it backs up my rumors 100%. So, yeah, there's a lot going on in the Star Trek world, and it needs to happen. Needs to happen. Joe, have you ever watched Smallville? I'm going back to Smallville for a sec. Because Smallville, like, I still can't get over that episode of television I watched last night. If you still hear My Figure Universe, and now you're claiming My Figure Universe that it only gets better. My Lord, what a great show. Where has it been on all my life? Incredible. Oh, yeah. And Joe, you know what blew my mind? And I did a video about this, was that our Kirk, well, not our Kirk, it's not my Kirk, but the new Kirk, who I would like to go on record saying, because Greg mentioned this in the podcast the other day, and I agree with him, he's kind of got the Kirk thing going right now, Paul Wesley. He played Lucas Luthor in Smallville. I mean, the kid must have been 18, like fresh off the boat type of thing. He was just so, like, wide-eyed. But, man, he was great in that. He was really great. And I know this is a spoiler, but I'm hoping you can answer it without spoiling My Figure Universe. Do we get to see more of Lucas, or what's the deal there? Now, don't get me wrong. There's some. Oh, of course there are. Of course there are. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I'm very hyper aware that, you know, they're not all going to be home runs. And what did they have to pump out? 22 episodes a year? Of course. We're going to have some dud episodes along the way. But yes, it get good. Season 5. You know, I'd heard that too. I heard that. And so I'm really excited to get to that season. I reckon I'll be finished season 2 today. I absolutely will get finished today. Dude, yes, unfortunately, that's how I started the stream this morning. Robert Redford did die. I was talking about all his films earlier. If you go back and watch the start of the video, he was 89 years old, an absolute legend in Hollywood. He had hits over 50 years. Like, in every decade, he had made his impact on Hollywood. So an incredible actor, legacy, and it was sad to see him go. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. Because I like the idea of it, you know. You know what I am shocked about with Smallville is that we're only in season 2 and they're really starting to go with big episode ideas. And I go, wow, like, how brave are you as a show that you've gone, nah, we're really going to double down on the lore now. And, you know, by then they've already gone, look, we don't need Freak of the Week every week. Incredible. You know who I've really admired a lot, and I wasn't so sure whether I was going to like her or not. I can't pronounce her last name, but the lovely young lady who plays Lana. Wasn't a huge fan when I first saw her, but man, she gives some knockout performances in that show, in a really difficult role, because she's one of the most patient people in the world when it comes to Clark. But Kristen, I believe her name is, just does a wonderful job. Smallville. Yes, Roger that with Robert Redford. Man, you know, one of my favorite films of his was Sneakers, which is great, with Sidney Poitier and Dan Aykroyd and River Phoenix before he passed. And of course, Robert Redford playing a security team that tests corporation for their security. What a fun film. Go see Sneakers. Kristen Kruick. She won me over. I'm shocked that deal didn't go on to other big hit series or something else, because, again, she has to carry a lot of the emotional weight of that show and seems to do it in a really earnest way that you're frustrated why she puts up with Clark's shit. Because let's be honest, Clark is not a great friend at times. And we all know what Clark and they want, and it's will they, won't they kind of scenario. But yeah, she has to take a lot of that emotional burden. She does it so well. So well. And dare I say Alison Mack? I mean, I can't help but say it every time I see her on the screen and yell, sex cult. But even she does some really great performances on that show. So, oh yeah, R.I.P. Robert Redford, man. Like, dude was incredible. Dude was incredible. I sometimes go, was he a better actor than director? I think he was even kill. You know, his directing ability was just incredible. Just wait till season 6. Okay. All right. I had the biggest crush on Alison Mack. I don't care what she did later, but the character Chloe was one of my biggest crushes. Yeah, you know what? She's very Girl Next Door, right? And she's an important character of the show because of her function. I mean, they're able to frame, like, the fact that there's a couple of clever things they did with that series straight off the bat. The fact that the medial fragments it goes all over Smallville into small bits and pieces is the perfect framing to allow for the Freak of the Weeks. And then, what was I was going to say? Is Chloe being the investigative journalist in this? So we have the wall of weird, as they call it, and the fact that a lot of exposition goes through Chloe in that series, and she handles it really well. Okay. I was always hoped she was going to end up being Lois. Oh, okay. Well, we haven't met Lois yet. Obviously, we don't meet her for a little while. The sad part, she never appears on Talkville. I understand why, but damn, it would have been so good to have her on there. It would have been because she's such a integral part of the show. And I respect the lads at Talkville because they talk about her in glowing terms with her performances. Like, they're able to leave their other crap over there and just focus on her performances, which is really great. Right, I forgot shirt day. I think that's a typing error because that makes no structural sense there, Joe. Had it named Nixium. Yeah, with an X, it started Nixium. Yeah, that's a whole thing. Great YouTube videos out there if you want to watch about how Alison Mack got manipulated into a sex cult. Because here's the real truth. Yes, she was a big part of it, but she was also a victim of it as well. Some fascinating documentaries on the internet to watch that. But you know why I keep talking about Smallville a lot? Because I think it also represents, and I think Supernatural sits in the same thing, where it represents a type of television that I think is gone, done. We're never going to get that again. And that's kind of sad because long-running 10-season shows are sometimes really fantastic to go on a journey with because, you're going to have rocky episodes. Yeah, you may even have rocky seasons. But the fact that you're able to take such a long journey with them is wonderful. What I don't like is these days where we get 2 seasons and it's done. It's axed. I mean, like, to be honest with you, if I'm starting a new show now and I know it's only got 2 seasons, I'm not even going to invest my time. Like, why? Because the story's not going to be complete unless it's like Andor and it's specifically designed to be 2 seasons. I won't start a new show unless there's 3 or 4 seasons in. Unless it's a show I was obsessed about and have to see it immediately. But yeah. Yeah, I don't want to spend, watch 10 episodes of a show and it's done. That's it. There's no more. I like long-form storytelling when it's done right. I forgot that cult is what I meant. I forgot they had that cult. Yeah, like she had that. No one else knew. Go look up Michael Rosenbaum talking about Alison Mack. He tells a great story about his last interaction with her, which was really weird and creepy and telling. So, which is kind of rad. Well, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up now. I didn't want to come on too long today. I just wanted to talk about the passing of the unbelievable Robert Redford. Talk about obviously the Emmys. It was a good Emmys this year. We good shows won. I'm talking about the news with Robert Pattinson. He's got the script of Batman 2. He's really excited. And yeah, I just also please check me out on the Star Trek The Undiscovered podcast, only on Spotify. I do a season 3 wrap up with the boys. Man, they were great. They were really good. And again, they didn't interrupt each other, Joe. We could learn a thing or two. All right. Thanks, My Figure Universe, for popping in. Thanks, Joe, for popping in. Thanks, Oddball, as always. And everyone else, have a wonderful day. And we'll see you next time because you know what? I'm talking too.